Yes, folks, that's right. We are back at MoDXtra Games and Collectibles with yet another action figure review for you to consume and enjoy. I'm Chris. This is my channel. I'm known online as the True Mr. Six, and in today's installment, I'm going to be walking you through the latest figure to arrive on my doorstep. It's the G.I. Joe Classified Series Agent Helix figure from the latest wave. So stick around. I'm going to be reviewing all the ins and outs, ups and downs, letting you know everything you might need to know about Agent Helix, so that if you're thinking about picking one up for yourself, you can, gather some thoughts from my thoughts and maybe make a purchase decision. I'm going to talk you through the aesthetic, talk about the visual experience of the figure and how I found her over the last couple of days since she arrived. I'm going to talk you through the articulation and describe some of the man-child playtime that I've been having, getting hands-on with the figure and posing her up and getting her in display and playing around with her on my dios. And then finally, I'm going to walk through all the accessories and added value and let you know how they've enhanced that man-child playtime I've been having. So yeah, plenty in there for you to sink your teeth into to help you understand this figure better. But before I do, travel back in time with me, dear viewer, because now it's time to share the live unboxing of the Agent Helix that I did when she arrived in the post just the other day. So yeah, back to past Chris now. Enjoy his company. He's a lovely fella right here. All right then, G.I. Joe Classified Series fans, here is the Agent Helix packaging then. So it's the windowless template for the time being. Got Metalhead and Mutton Junkyard on the horizon with the windowed packaging, but for now we're still with the kind of black frame motif with the digital render on the left-hand side there, showing Agent Helix out the front of a house with the SWAT van behind her. With the accessories and added value, little cutaway there, the painted artwork down the left-hand side of the box, the right-hand side of the box. All good, all well. I'm going to miss these digital renders on the front, but I'm not going to bang on about it. I believe that's a kind of comic book lore reference to her history with suburban child trafficking, but I could be wrong there, because my experience of Agent Helix is from the Chuck Dixon IDW storyline where she appeared in there. I haven't read her in A Real American Hero, but there we go. And then on the back, Agent Helix is number 104 in the line. She stands 5.9 inches tall, according to this little measuring stick at the side there. Digital render of the figure and the accessories. A couple of breakaway windows with some key features that Hasbro want to show off. The little computerized display on her arm. And then the band-aid, or plaster, as we would call it over here in the UK, on her arm there. Legal bollocks and malarkey across the bottom. Then the data card, of course. Let's get zoomed in on that a little bit then. So we've got the skull here at the end there. That's reflective of Agent Helix's fandom towards death metal music, which I think we could probably tell from the hairstyle that she's chosen to adopt. Then there's a little row of bullets here. This is reflective of Agent Helix's personal collection. This is her hobby on the side. So when she's out on manoeuvres travelling around Europe, she collects little World War II bullet casings and keeps them in a glass display out for all to see in her quarters. Then we've got the target here. She's a console shooter fan, like many Joes are. We've established that numerous times reviewing these data cards. I believe Agent Helix is a Gears of War fan, actually. She's more into the third-person shooters, but doesn't like Fortnite so much because it's too cartoony. Then we've got a little kung fu kicking dude here. That's reflective of Agent Helix's love of 80s kung fu movies. Particularly a big fan of the Karate Kid because, who isn't? But also has a little soft spot for American Ninja, the American Ninja movie series as well. Bigger artwork and number on this side. Number, artwork, pointless QR code, and the miniaturized version of the data card that absolutely no one can read without a magnifying glass. More legal bollocks and malarkey across the bottom. Right, let's get this open, shall we? So I've popped the tape there. Let's open that flap. And we've got the weapons locker to begin with. Oh, can't get my fingers around that today. There we are. Here we go. Weapons locker, 104, Agent Helix. And then the figure herself in the cardboard frame there. Let's get the weapons locker open then. So we've got the little baggie and, of course, the paperwork. All right, let's push all the bits to the bottom and then rip this open like we might do a pot noodle flavour sachet. Tip out all the goodies. Come on, out you come. Come on. Come on to Uncle Chris. There we go. Anything left in there? No, I think we're good. Okay, sword 1. Sword 2. Wrist blade 1. Wrist blade 2. Pistol 1. Pistol 2. Backpacky thing. Big old hatchety, daggery type thing. Tie wraps, back in a sec. There we go, done the choppy. We can see the artwork at the back of the cardboard frame there. Well, there we are then, folks. There's Agent Helix out the packaging, and straight away, I hope your eyes are drawn to it as much as my eyes are. What the hell is going on with this leg here? I'm going to be taking a much closer look at that, but there she is anyway with all her goodies. I'm going to go away, get some hands-on man-child playtime with the figure, get to grips with it before I come back and share the review thoughts. So it's going to be a couple of days for me, but just a few seconds for you, so stick around. Future Chris is going to review Helix in 3, 2, 1... All right then, folks, well, let's move on to talk about the aesthetic of the figure, and here is Helix as she came out of that little cardboard frame there in the box, and yeah, she's an interesting-looking figure, definitely a really interesting shelf presence that she offers, the colour palette and the general tone and feel of the G.I. Joe side of the shelf, for sure. Well, bring her a bit nearer to the camera then so we can conduct a closer inspection of the visual qualities of the figure. You can see there's a lot to like in the head sculpt for sure. It's a wonderful face sculpt there with lovely defined features, very feminine but also warrior-like as well. Lovely neat and tidy paint applications on the lips, on the eyes, on the eyebrows. I love the eyes in particular actually, very piercing sort of blue stare there, very serious, grim. Swords person on the go, so that's wonderful. And then of course you've got the kind of the way the hair adds to the personality and the character of what you're getting there. This is really well sculpted stuff. You can see the hair sculpting detail in there, bit of a wash through the center to change up the colors, and then the darker hair dyed section draping down across the front of her face. Really, again, adds a little bit of personality, bit of character. Could be argued it's a little bit on the vanilla side, but as I've argued before, the G.I. Joe Classified series folks, they're soldiers. They're in the theatre of combat, the theatre of war, and so you'd expect them to look a little bit serious and grim, wouldn't you, at times? But Helix has got, I don't know, a little something going on in there. There's a little something creeping out through the way they've sculpted the facial expression that really adds to the personality, I feel, anyway. It might be my imagination just seeing what I want to see, but is there a tiny little bit of a smirk breaking through there? A little tiny smirk, perhaps? I don't know, maybe that's me. There, moving down the figure, you can see that it's quite comic book accurate, or at least comic book accurate as I know the character of Helix from the IDW continuity. So with the yellow trimmings on top of the grey uniform stuff, which is all nice, lovely, accurate. It's a bit squiffy in places, like here, the grey hinge coming up through the yellow section of the uniform irks a little bit, but I can't see as they've got much of a way around that, to be honest, but it's there. But the sculpted details are in. Like if you look at the kind of elasticated strap there around the wrist, and the sculpted details in this piece of body armor there, and then across the belt, with even a few paint applications on the belt there as well, with these kind of gunmetal magazine pockets, I assume, for a pistol. So that's all nice to see. Some textured detail in there as you move down into the legs. These are, of course, from the very first Scarlet figure. It's a reuse, so they are pinned, which is a bit of a shame, but that is the way that it is. But yeah, just as I've got her there, look, you can see all the extra sculpted detail in the gun holster, and then round the back here with the grenades and everything. You see the textured detail and some of the folding and creasing in the trousers there, which is all nice and lovely. Got added details here, like this little display here on her arm. I'm not sure what that is. I think it's probably from the core Real American Hero continuity. Unless, is it the mass device teleporter from... didn't Snake Eyes and Helix kind of teleport themselves back into a Cobra science lab in the Antarctic using a thing? Is it maybe that from the IDW continuity? I'm not sure. While I'm talking about random little Easter egg details, she's got this little plaster here, the Band-Aid across the arm, which I suspect is an Easter egg reference to something that happened in the other comic line that I don't know Helix from. So I will call upon you, my wonderful, wonderful MoDXtra Games and Collectibles viewing community, to help me fill the gap there and provide me with the necessary lore knowledge as to why that plaster is there on her arm, what the relevance of that is. The boots are exactly the same as Scarlet's with the shin guards on them there and everything, so we've seen all that before, just obviously a different paint application that's been applied to them. Now, she is obviously comic book accurate as per the character's design, from the artwork, but G.I. Joe Classified, like a nice bit of symmetry, so they've balanced it up well. The colour schemes work nicely. The yellow and grey is really separates, it really catches the eye when she's in amongst the sea of military greens and whatnot that we've had in the G.I. Joe side of the shelf. So, yeah, it's working. I like the colour scheme, but I appreciate that it's comic book accurate as well, because I know there'll be folks out there who really appreciate having a look just like the character looked in their reading material. The only other thing to point out is you can see I've heated this leg that was a bit squiffy. It's still a little bit not right, but I've managed to bend it back into somewhat of a better shape. But it was definitely, you can see there, it's not a great cut across the knee. In fact, I'll bring her a bit closer, and you can see that I've ended up with some kind of sort of stress tensiony marks here as I've tried to get that into a better state of affairs with this leg. Also got a couple of paint applications that are a bit loosey-goosey and sloppy. So like up on the top here, you can see these buckles. They've had a bit of paint applied to them, but it's a bit slapdash and it hasn't done the buckles any justice. And then I got a bit of paint application bleed here across the chest between the grey and the yellow. There's a little bit here on the underarm where the grey paint hasn't been applied thickly enough. You can see the yellow plastic mould underneath coming through. Bit of spillage here on the arm. So yeah, she's been painted in a hurry, this one. But then I'd argue that's possibly the curse of the action figure YouTube reviewer who is hunting these things out and inspecting the figure a little bit too deeply, because the overall visual experience, you don't notice those little slapdash paint applications at all. They just kind of blend into the overall experience, and I like the overall experience. And on that note, that's going to lead me to say that Helix, from a visual perspective, from an aesthetic perspective, is a thumbs up from me. Yeah, I love this figure, actually. I love the way she looks. She's just got a lot of personality. Real character, and just adds something to the shelf, 100%. Okay then, well, moving into the Articulation as the next section of the video now, and Helix is the standard G.I. Joe Classified Series female articulation book. I mean, obviously with a big chunk of reuse in the legs there, there's no surprises. So if you're new around these parts, or you've never had a G.I. Joe Classified Series figure in hand, I'll give you a quick rundown. But if you're familiar with G.I. Joe Classified Series, you won't find any surprises here. I'll just point out a few bits that have stood out to me that may differ or separate it from the crowd in that respect. So starting above the shoulders then, we've got the ball at the top of the neck, in the base of the skull, and a ball at the bottom of the neck there, giving us excellent down. As much up as it can give us with the restriction of the hairline across the back here. Full Exorcist 360 swivel, lots of tilt and motion in there, really opening up the range of possibilities with your posing and displaying of the figure. There, moving down into the shoulder, you can see you've got the butterfly joint there, giving you a nice bit of shuffle forward and back. Hinge and swivel in the at the top of the shoulder there, giving you a full 360 all the way around, and a T-shape up to there. She's got a swivel at the top of the bicep and tricep, giving you a range of motion up here at the top. Double elbow there that gets you up to there, pinless as well. Pegged in wrist there, giving you the full swivel, and then each of the two hands, left and right, have got the up and down hinge, like so. Into the torso area, we've got the diaphragm cut and the waist cut there, giving us a good range of motion across that top swivel, and a good range of motion in the waist swivel as well. Although you may have noticed, Helix is a little bit wobbly in this joint here. There, moving down below the waist, we've got the drop down, the classic G.I. Joe Classified Series drop down joint there. I've got quite a large gap in here. I don't know if you noticed that. I generally don't watch all the reviews until I've done my own, so I'll go away and investigate this. But if anyone's seen out and about whether the size of that gap is quite common, or whether Scarlett had that problem or not, I'd be interested to know. You've also probably noticed that this belt is a floating belt, and there's quite a bit of movement there, so you have to make sure that when you are articulating it, you kind of put that back where you want it. Good forward. Okay-ish splits. You want quite a big kind of range of motion for a ninja acrobatic combatant like Helix, and she's a little bit restricted in that respect there. Pin double knee that gets you up to there. Thigh cut here at the top of the boot, giving you some swivel, and then the classic hinge and rocker in the feet, giving you some ankle motion. So articulation-wise then, yeah, it's a thumbs up, because I'm well documented on this channel as saying that I love the G.I. Joe Classified Series articulation scheme, and I particularly enjoy it with the female figures. I think they're leaps and bounds ahead of many others when it comes to the female book that they use. It really opens up a world of possibility when it comes to posing, shelf display, playtime, all that good stuff. And, Marvel Legends down the corridor could do with learning a thing or two from the G.I. Joe Classified folks. for sure, with just one single figure in their range that matches Helix here. So yeah, overall it's great, and as a character who's sort of known for being quite a dynamic, acrobatic kind of martial artist character from her combat style, then the articulation really opens up your world of possibility around that. However, once again, I'm sad to report that mine is a bit loosey-goosey on the old QC with the loose diaphragm and the weird gap there in the hip and groin area, which is odd, and then, of course, the cockeyed leg, which is a real shame, because overall, the combination of articulation with the aesthetic qualities of the figure, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of the figure, but hopefully, as I've said many times before, that's just mine off the production line, and yours will be a lot different. Moving into the accessories and added value, I'm going to get started with these here, these kind of wrist blade, like praying mantis style claw type things. These are interesting. I'm not as into these, mostly because they don't resonate with me. I'm not... My knowledge of the character, she didn't use these in the continuity that I read and became familiar with Helix through, but I'm presuming that they have a prominent place in the character's arsenal in the other continuity. But they're fun, you know. I've played around with them a little bit and done some stuff with them, posing them around. We've obviously got the metallic paint application along the blade, which I'm always a big fan of when they paint the blades up. Then with this kind of sculpted plastic piece all the way down with a couple of hinges here, points of articulation to allow you to do a bit of stuff with the claws. And then we've got the little wrist clips here, which are super easy to use. Just slide them on over like so and attach them to the figure's wrist. So yeah, they're a bit wacky, a bit different. Add something curious in terms of your posing and display opportunities. It's just, it's how the character resonates with you in terms of what you picture in your mind's eye, isn't it? And these just aren't part of the identity, the character profile of Helix that I know from my time with the character. However, what she did use quite prominently in the continuity that I read was a couple of handguns with the extended magazines, and they're present and correct here also. Single piece of sculpted plastic there, with, as I mentioned, the extended magazine across the bottom, the little laser sight on them. Got the gap in the barrel there for you to put your firing effects and stuff into them. Nicely sculpted piece of plastic. They are also fairly sturdy, although the magazine is a little wibbly wobbly if you're not paying attention. But yeah, what else is there? There's not much else to say. I definitely picture the character in my mind's eye as a sort of dual-wielding kind of pistol assassin type, and they've provided the gear to display her as such. There's on-figure storage for both these pistols as well. On each of her thighs there, she's got a pistol holster that you can just slide them into like that. Nice tight fit, although it can be a bit of a challenge to get them out sometimes. But lovely nice fit. They're not going to be falling out anytime soon. Then we have the two katana blades here. These are all right. I'm pretty sure they're reuse from another figure, maybe the Red Ninja or something. But they're fine. Again, they're definitely a part of the Helix arsenal that you associate with her kind of character identity. I certainly recognise the swords from covers and scenes that I've read. They're painted in the yellow to match up with her uniform down here on the hilt, and then black blades, which is an interesting choice. I might have preferred a metallic paint application along there. Also, while we're talking paint applications, a bit slapdash loosey-goosey on this one here. But yeah, they're fine. They're just pretty standard off-the-shelf G.I. Joe classified series swords, but yeah, they're part of the visual identity of Helix, so you absolutely had to include them. These also have on-figure storage, but with a little backpack, which is here. Not super exciting. It's literally a little peg back panel piece with two sheath areas there for you to slide the swords into, for you to be able to store them on her back. Just, pop them in the peg hole, like usual. And then finally, she's got this large curved dagger here, which is presumably for hacking her way through woodlands and jungles to make her way to little cobra nests that she can clear out. It's a darker grey on the blade, but it's not metallic. And then we've got the painted application across the bottom of the hilt there with this like kind of break skulls pointy bit at the bottom. This is again in the very gummy, very rubbery accessory plastic that they've been using of late. I'm not going to bang on about it, but obviously it's a bit pants, but this came out the box nice and straight, so even though it is a bit gummy, it's fit for purpose. This can be stored on the figure again as well. Around the back of the belt here, there's this little kind of loop that you can slide it into, like so. Although, right, here's the thing. I thought about this with Shadow Tracker, and I forgot to mention it when I did the review. These loops with the handles in like that, are they not wildly impractical for the character to actually remove the knife for use? Or in Shadow Tracker's case, his little tomahawk. Like, they've got to pick it up by the blade, remove it by the blade. Am I missing something there? Or is that just, you know, I've got to let go of that little bit of reality and go, it's an action figure and it's being stored on as best they could practically do. But I'm not wrong, am I? I'm not wrong. Like, is he going to push that down from the top with one hand and grab it with the other? No, I don't think she is. So it's a thumbs up on the accessory selection. It's you know, a good selection. It opens up the range of possibilities around your posing and your displaying with the figure. It's all in line with the character lore and what we know and associate with her. It's just a shame that QC piece again, really, the gummy plastic, the sloppy paint applications on the swords, it's just a bit loose around the edges, isn't it? Which is a bit of a shame. However, again, going back to the overall experience, you slap the pistol in the hand, slap a sword in the hand, and look at that, she looks great, ready for action. About to slice up some cobras. What more could you want? Quick figure comparison time then, folks, and here is Agent Helix with Snake Eyes, who I remember these two teaming up in a number of occasions, going off book, not following orders and just doing their own naughty thing, but with a positive intent. So I suppose that's okay in the end of the day. I don't have a Scarlet, folks, to do the comparison with. I was clinging on for a retro. One of my wishes have come true. My dreams have come true because she's on the way. So I've just dropped Lady J in here for you to take a look at another female figure. I must admit, I do much prefer the pinless legs on Lady J compared to these pinned, crooked legs that Helix has got. And then finally, because I like to throw one in from the other side of the shelf here, is the Snow Serpent here, the Cobra Snow Serpent. Because I mentioned it earlier, I just seem to have a very vivid image of maybe a cover where Helix and a Snow Serpent were getting into it. I may have misremembered that, I don't know, but he's a relatively new figure and he's hanging around anyway. Although, random side note, I'm becoming less and less enamored with these, you know, folks. I've been enjoying the Snow Serpent less and less as time's gone on. Maybe I should do like a little retrospective. There's an idea for a future video. Let me know if you want to see that. Right, okay then, folks. Well, here is Helix going around on the turntable. And as far as final thoughts go, despite the QC stuff that I've pointed out and the kind of shortcutting with the weapons and the dodgy articulation and the slapdash paint applications and stuff, I'm going to overlook them and recommend it because I really, really like the figure. I've been playing with her loads since she arrived the other day. I'm very, very happy with it. I love these more idiosyncratic, off-the-wall G.I. Joe characters. In my older age, I'm becoming increasingly a fan of those that have different colour schemes or a very particular, unique kind of element of personality. And, well, they all have a unique element of personality, but you know what I mean. Just really selling something. That bright yellow just, boy, pops on the shelf in amongst... I had it with Stalker and Snake Eyes the other day, and it just popped. It really popped, and it looked great. I love the dual-wielding pistol, the John Wooey type stuff. It's all awesome. Yeah, I'm overlooking the fact that I had a crooked leg and I've got a bit of a loose diaphragm because I've enjoyed playing with the figure a great deal. She's freaking awesome. Loads of fun. And I said it before, I said it again, I'm pretty sure I've already said it in this video, the G.I. Joe Classified series female book is knocking everything else Hasbro is putting out there out the park, and probably beyond Hasbro as well. It's just really, really outstanding, and so I get a lot of pleasure and enjoyment from, you know, moving the shelf away from, what was it Colonel Angus enjoyed me saying the other day? It's such a sausage fest across the shelf. Was it Colonel Angus? Well, Colonel, was it you that mentioned that the other day? Because it's very, you know, it's very male heavy, and I like getting a bit of gender balance across there as well, especially, you know, badass chicks like Helix here, because she's a great character. So there we go. All right, well, I'll wrap that one up there, but it's a recommends, folks. Go for it if you see her on the shelf. I would say so. If you found this useful today, then please do take the moment to give me a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. It'd be a real pleasure to have you here in the MoDXtra Games and Collectibles viewing community. Get into conversation with me in the comments down below, and have yourselves a wonderful day, a wonderful week, and I'll see you around these parts again sometime soon. Oh, I so nearly got it right there. See you later, folks. Ta-ra.